The mythology of meritocracy persists because it must. Without it, the American story collapses. We tell ourselves that the best rise, that talent will always find its way. But the scaffolding of success is invisible to those who never had it. Wealth buys tutors, stability, the luxury of focus. Poverty buys exhaustion, distraction, and an ever-growing ledger of impossible choices. We celebrate the exceptions, the ones who make it against the odds, because they absolve us. They let us believe the system works, that the playing field is fair enough. But what of the others? The millions whose brilliance never translates to test scores, whose hunger overshadows their potential, who learn young that the rules were written for someone else. I'm Carl Chimini. Welcome to today's Mind Chime. To ask why America remains a rough country is to ask why its roughness is necessary. A system built on extraction of labor, of bodies, of futures cannot function without a permanent underclass. Those locked out of education, of stability, of the supposed American dream are not there by accident. They are there by design. The history of the meritocracy myth. The term meritocracy was popularized by British sociologist Michael Young in his 1958 satire The Rise of the Meritocracy. Ironically, Young intended it as a warning: a society that selects for intelligence and effort alone, without accounting for systemic barriers, will only entrench inequality. His dystopian vision depicted a world where the privileged hoard opportunities, justify their status as earned, and condemn the poor as inherently inferior. In America, however, the concept was stripped of its irony and repackaged as an ideal. It became the foundation of elite college admissions, corporate promotions, and political rhetoric. Yet, in practice, the playing field was never level. Redlining, segregated schools, and an underfunded public education system ensured that talent had little room to breathe outside of wealth. Today, the legacy remains. SAT scores track more closely with parental income than with intelligence. Unpaid internships act as gatekeepers to power, and the bootstrap narrative erases the generational advantages that make success possible. The false notion that the wealthy work harder. The central belief of the modern American meritocracy is that those who succeed have simply worked harder than those who struggle. This assumption is a key feature of entitlement syndrome, the idea that the well-off are not just wealthier, but morally and intellectually superior to those with less. The truth is far less convenient. The working poor work longer hours. Low-wage workers frequently work multiple jobs, with longer hours and less stability, yet remain unable to achieve upward mobility. A retail worker who pulls double shifts, a home health aide who commutes 2 hours each way. Are these people working less than a hedge fund manager? Or do they simply lack the wealth to turn effort into generational security? Access, not just effort, creates success. Success often hinges on unseen advantages: a network of well-placed mentors, the ability to take unpaid internships, financial cushions that allow for risk-taking. A middle-class college student can afford to focus on school, while a poor student may be juggling coursework and full-time employment. Inherited wealth trumps hard work. The majority of America's wealthiest individuals were born into advantage. From trust funds to legacy admissions, their starting line is miles ahead of those in the working class. Yet they are taught to believe they are self-made. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are prime examples of a failed meritocracy, individuals whose success is built more on inherited privilege and systemic advantage than on extraordinary effort or intelligence. Trump inherited millions, benefited from his father's political connections, and built a brand on leveraged debt and media manipulation. Musk, while undeniably intelligent, relied on government subsidies, inherited wealth, and political favoritism to climb to his current status. Both men are mythologized as self-made, but their stories reveal a different truth. Meritocracy, as it exists in America, is an illusion that serves the already powerful. How do we change this? If meritocracy is to be more than a convenient myth, it must be rebuilt with an honest assessment of access. Allow me to throw a couple of ideas out there. Universal early childhood education. The first 5 years of life shape everything that follows. Access to high-quality preschool should not depend on income or zip code. Abolishing legacy admissions. If merit is to be real, then inherited privilege cannot be an admissions criterion at elite universities. Expanding public higher education. State universities should be tuition-free or heavily subsidized, ensuring that ability, not wealth, determines attendance. It is about the money. Economic stability enables education and ambition. A living wage is not just a labor issue, it is an education issue. Streamlined access to scholarships and financial aid. Opportunity should not hinge on whether a teenager has a knowledgeable adult to guide them through paperwork. how to fund it. The inevitable question arises, how do we pay for it? The answer is not as elusive as we pretend. Reallocating tax incentives for the wealthy billions in tax breaks flow to those least in need. Redirecting subsidies from hedge funds and corporations to public education would be an investment with a return far greater than stock buybacks. The answer is in the tax code. A modest wealth tax on billionaires would generate enough revenue to fund universal preschool and tuition-free public colleges, ensuring the next generation's success isn't contingent on birthright. Make companies pay their fair share, companies that profit from public infrastructure, government contracts, and a skilled workforce should contribute proportionally to the system that sustains them. Killing the myth. Policy changes alone won't be enough. We must also shift how we think about merit and success. Redefining deserving. The belief that some inherently deserve more because of individual effort ignores the invisible support systems that make effort possible. Dismantling the myth of individualism. No one succeeds alone. A child's potential is shaped by teachers, mentors, and the resources available to them. Reframing investment in education as national security, an educated, stable populace strengthens democracy, innovation, and economic growth. Ignoring this isn't just short-sighted, it's self-destructive. America will remain a rough country so long as we refuse to see the systems that make it so. But history tells us that systems are not immutable. They are made and unmade by human hands. The question is whether we are willing to unmake this one. If everyone has an equal chance, free will, how about let's simply institute a 100% inheritance tax? That would bring an end to the false meritocracy overnight.
Please subscribe to Carl's Mind Chime channel and like what you see, hear, or read. Mind chimes are not easy and take serious work. So if you read on Substack, watch on YouTube, or listen wherever you get your podcasts, let's support Carl's obsession.